Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome to Psyop Relief. I'm your host, Tony, and joining me is Kaya. Kaya, what's going on?
Not too much. Just got back from some good old crawfish, some good
Okay.
libations. It's a good
Nice,
Sunday.
nice, nice, nice.
How are you doing?
So I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I got some sleep last night, even though, I went out for Cinco de Mayo. I think it was Cinco de Mayo. I don't even know. I just went out.
It's Monday.
It's Monday. Oh, okay. So people are going to
It's Monday.
celebrate this weekend. So yeah, I went out last night and I forgot it was Cinco de Mayo until I actually got to where I was going and I saw people everywhere
Yep.
um, that going on. I think there's like some type of sports game in town. So it was just people everywhere, people on top of people.
Okay.
So luckily I made it home. I think I made it home early. I think I was in the house by like 10. And so
Oh, that is early.
that's,
That's too
yeah, for
early
me,
for
for me,
me.
yeah, that's early. Yeah. So I don't have a migraine. I feel good and I'm ready to do it again today.
Part two. Did you get a
Right.
margarita last night?
So I was forced to get a margarita last night because the place that I,
You had
I
to,
chose,
yeah.
I didn't want I wanted an espresso martini, but the reason why I drank a margarita, a cucumber margarita, is because they only had tequila at the place I went to. It was a Mexican restaurant, and so
Okay.
I just tried to choose a restaurant that wasn't too crowded. And then I get in there and I look at the menu and I don't see any vodka, I don't see any brown liquor, and so I asked the
No
bartender. I
whiskey.
said, right. So I asked the bartender. I said, "Hey, do you guys make a espresso martini?" She said, "No, we're a Mexican restaurant." And I'm like, "Damn." so so but some Mexican restaurants that like they have everything because they know people are
Yes.
going to come in and order non-Mexican
Right.
beer and non-Mexican liquor. So unfortunately they only had tequila. So I drank a cucumber martini. No, cucumber
That's
margarita.
interesting. I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever had a
So
cucumber margarita, but hey,
yeah.
I
So
love a good
yes.
margarita.
Yeah. So I've had a cucumber martini before, and it's really good as well. But certain places cannot make them that well, so you got to be careful.
Oh, shocking.
What about you? What
Well,
did
let
you
me
do
know
last night?
how part two goes. Same thing. Went out. We went to a couple different places
Mhm.
and had enough margaritas for the whole weekend. But
Okay.
I'm going again today. We're gonna
And,
just
you-
keep
and you
going.
know, I could see it in your eyes. I could see it in your
Got a little
eyes.
more
So
friendly.
yeah, I could see it in your eyes. So part two tonight, and so I don't know if you got to wake up early and go to work early, but try to stay out a little later tonight because I'm pretty sure there's still going to be a big crowd tonight as well.
Tomorrow is a work from home day, so we're good to
Okay.
go. I get an extra hour of sleep. We're in
Right,
there.
right. So the party can probably go to what 1 a.m.
About 10:30, 11 p.m.
All right, all right. Cool, cool. That's what's up. So before we get into our first story, if you're watching, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Every like and every subscribe matters. So thank you for those who have, because I looked at the subscriber count. Slightly it's going up a little bit, which is good. One subscriber at a time. We're a
Yes.
growing channel. So, over the next few weeks, you guys going to see, we're going to change a lot of the format when it comes to branding of the stream, watermarks, overlays. So, uh, more to come with that. So, so we always start the show off with, travel stories because, it's summertime and yeah, I know you enjoy traveling a lot. But the first story is on the Real ID, and I'm pretty sure you heard of it. So on May 7th, the enforcement of Real ID begins, which requires travelers over the age of 18 to present a Real ID compliant ID card for domestic travel. A Real ID is a state issued ID or driver's license marked with a star in the upper right corner for enhanced IDs. So there's a potential for travel disruptions if you do not have a Real ID. Kaya, do you have a Real ID?
This is actually a hilarious story. So I do have the real ID, and I think
Mhm,
I've shared this story with you before,
mhm,
actually. So I have a real ID, and I did need to
mhm,
like go and get one because
mhm.
I'm pretty sure my ID was stolen.
Oh yeah, you shared this with
So
me. Yeah.
yes, I'm pretty sure my ID was stolen by a scammer. or we'll
Hmm.
call him a bad actor, whatever you want to call it,
Okay.
the professional term for it. But so I had to get a new ID, so I
Hmm.
have the real ID.
Okay.
But I am actually, I'm kind of going off row a little bit here. I'm actually banking on the people who don't have a real ID because I
Hmm.
do fly standby.
Hmm.
So I know there's going to be plenty of people who missed their flight
Hmm.
because they didn't get that real ID, and
Right.
I will be sitting in your seat. Maybe I shouldn't.
Well, look. So listen, if y'all listening to this, please go update your ID because Kaya will take your trip to Mexico. Where did you go to a week or two ago? The
The
Caribbean,
Cayman
the,
Islands.
the
I
Cayman
want to go
Islands. She
back to
will,
Jamaica.
yeah, she will take your trip. So go get
Get
your
real
real
ID
ID.
ready.
Yeah, go get real ID ready. And it's funny because I didn't even know what real ID was until a few weeks ago, and I'm like, I said, do I got a real ID? So I had to go look at my wallet and pull it out and see the star at the top. And I'm like, oh, I
Hmm.
got a real ID. I've had one for years.
Yeah.
But according to the TSA, 20% of the travelers, 20% of travelers do not have a real ID, which is
Yep.
odd to me considering IDs only last for about what, 6 years, depending on which state you live in.
Depending upon where you live, yes.
Mm. Yeah.
And you got to think about the people who, like, think about the last time you've been pulled over. You don't get pulled over that often. So there's people who've
Yeah.
probably been driving for 20 years that haven't gotten pulled over. They're like, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. I have an ID. Like it may be expired, but I'm not gonna go get a new one, right?
Right.
So I think some people just aren't even worried about it at all.
Mhm.
And I kind of get it. If you're
Yeah.
elderly and you don't drive often, you haven't been pulled over, why are you gonna waste your time at the DMV?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and the elderly people that you mentioned, some of them are not traveling. Like, I know before my grandmother passed, she wasn't traveling like that, especially by airplane. Like, she would, like, do
hmm
local trips with the family, but she wasn't getting on a trip and going to, Jamaica. Like, she wasn't doing
right.
that. I don't think
Yeah.
her when she was living, I don't think her joints could handle sitting on the airplane for, a few hours.
hmm
Um
Yeah.
but yeah. But I think another substitute for real ID is also having a valid passport.
Yep.
So
Yes.
I don't really think they're going to enforce it come May 7th. I think they're going to give a lot of people leeway.
Shoot. I don't
I think
know.
they're going to give a lot of people leeway like the first few months, and then like come like holiday season 2025, like Christmas, then they probably going to start enforcing it.
I guess we'll see. It's coming
Yeah,
in this week, so we'll
yeah,
see
like
by this
3 days.
weekend.
Yeah, three
Yeah,
days.
we'll
So
see if they're enforcing it or not. But I already got plans in my mind for the trips I'm about to take this
right,
weekend.
right,
So,
right. Airplanes are going to be empty because of the real ID.
and I'm just
So I,
joking, obviously. Let me preface that by saying I'm just joking. I want everybody to have their real ID, and I want you all to make it on your flights. That is just a joke.
yeah. So I think my ID expires, I think next year, and I wanted to go get
Okay.
a new update, a new updated driver's license before people start talking about real ID. But I'm not going now because the DMV is going to be so crowded with people trying to get new licenses. So I think I'm gonna probably wait 2 months.
But I don't think that you have to go in person because I
Oh, I
didn't
need to
go
go
in
in person.
person when I,
Yeah, I do.
well, you just want a new picture then.
No, mine is from like a different state. Like mine is old.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Because I
So
was gonna say if you have the state's ID, you can just do it online. You don't need to go in person.
mhm.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and a lot of
it's
states are like that.
it's
Yeah,
more
you
than
can go
time for
online.
you.
Yeah, so I tried to get a new license. I think over a year ago. Like the process was so like it has so many roadblocks and hurdles. I'm like, I ain't got time for this.
Really?
I'm gonna just keep it. Some states it's simple, like Georgia. It is extremely simple to just go in there, walk in, go sign up on a computer. You could leave in under 20 minutes. Texas,
I
it's a
thought it
headache.
was easy. I went and got mine because I, after like 4 years, 3 or 4 years of living
Mhm.
here. Okay, 2 or 3 years of living here, and I thought that it was pretty easy.
Yeah, it's a headache.
Yeah.
So, and I know in Illinois, like they have DMVs. Since the population is so big, they have DMVs everywhere, like everywhere. Like certain cities, I think Atlanta, I think they only had two in the whole city. The rest of them were
Mm.
like in the suburbs. So, I gotta go on a weekday when everybody's at work, get a new ID. I already have a real idea. I
DMV
just
don't
need to
work
get it
like
updated.
that.
Yeah, it's a
DMV is
headache.
gonna be packed weekday, weekend.
Yeah, I
It don't
know.
matter, especially in Texas.
And I want to avoid it. And so I need that. And I think next year I got to get a new passport because I think my passport expires next year as well. So
Think you can get that early too. You may want to,
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I don't want to mess with that because then I won't be going
Mm-mm.
nowhere. And if you
You're gonna
try to get
be
a
domestic.
stuck, yeah, if you try to get a new passport in the summer, I heard it could take a long time unless you want to pay like that
Yeah, I bet.
expedited fee. And I'm not giving the
Hmm.
government any more of my money.
I
So
know that's right.
right. So another local story with Texas. There's a new Starbucks location in Brownsville, Texas, that's making headlines for being the world's first 3D printed building of its kind. The new location was constructed layer by layer using a robotic printer, and the idea behind the construction was to reduce construction costs and reduce the amount of waste that it requires to, make a building such as a Starbucks. So I'm not sure if you've seen this, or I'm not sure if you're familiar with 3D printing. Like, what are your thoughts on this to basically remove all of the construction workers that are required to build a traditional building where Starbucks is housed and just print something using some type of 3D printer or robotic arm?
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with 3D printing. I think it's a newer concept. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
But of course, taking jobs from people, especially in an economy like we have today, where people are struggling to, find minimum wage jobs, but they have 2 degrees. Obviously, think that that is very unfortunate. But I think that corporations are left in a hard place when, you have people who, I mean, me, myself included, will complain about doing, your typical workday activities. I'm not
Mhm.
going to leave myself out of that category because I am definitely one of the complainers. But yeah, I think it's unfortunate that, taking jobs from able-bodied people. How do
Mhm.
you feel about it?
So it's definitely different. Even though it's like you're removing the typical construction workers, you're also providing jobs for the people who create the technology behind 3D printing and the technology behind this layered printing approach. You still need electricians, you still need plumbers and employees inside Starbucks, but it's crazy
Hmm.
that they can print a Starbucks, they can print a house. I mean,
Right.
we got to think about that. And so pretty soon, they're going to print you and I, and we're going to go to work and we're going to see some clones that look like us, doing our jobs.
I hope when they start printing, if my house is printed in the future, I hope that, the plumbing, like you said, is done right. And I hope that they get it right. 'Cause, they say these new
Right.
constructions are not made that great.
No,
So
they're
hopefully they're
not.
working out the kinks right
Right. Right.
now.
So they're going to work out the kinks with Starbucks, and then next thing you know, they're going to
That works for
build you a
me.
house. And
That
so,
works for me.
yeah, speaking of new constructions, I'm pretty sure when you drive around your city, you can see new constructions. And if you look at the wood they use, the wood is like just thin. It looks like, I could just walk over to a construction site and just push all the buildings over. Some of these buildings look so thin and so, cheaply made. But I mean, it's the new wave.
It's
Yeah,
innovative, yeah.
yeah, it's
And
definitely innovative.
I think that you have obviously AI, like now you're hearing about the 3D printing. And I hear you when you say we're giving jobs to people in those spaces, like in the tech
Mhm,
spaces. Um, but I think how many people does it take to build a house versus how many people does it take to build a build out of a technology piece? Maybe like a
yeah,
team of 2 to 3 on the tech side, right? Versus like
yeah,
10 to 15 different construction workers. So I still think you're kind of minimizing the amount of people who built that
mhm,
house, but I hear what you're saying too.
yeah, yeah. We'll see. Brownsville, I think that's near. Is that near? Is that near like the Mexican border?
El Paso, I think it's out,
Okay.
like outside of Houston, outside of Dallas, like
Yeah,
not close to or
let me check
Austin or anything. But I
'cause I
do
thought
think
it
it's
was.
closer to El Paso. I could be
Okay, let
wrong.
me check real quick.
I'm very geographically
Challenged.
challenged a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, so it's south of Corpus Christi.
Oh,
Oh, so
okay.
yeah, it is near the Mexican border.
But El
It's
Paso
near.
is right next to the Mexican border too, right? Or did I make that up?
Uh, where's El Paso? Let me see where El Paso is.
Yeah, we gotta learn these cities better.
Well, I'm not visiting anytime soon, so yeah, so El Paso is literally on the Mexican border as well, but El
Okay.
Paso is to the west, and
Okay.
Brownsville's far to the east. So they're literally on like complete
Got it.
opposites
Okay.
sides of Texas. So yeah, I don't plan
Okay.
on visiting anytime soon. Uh, I don't think it's nothing in a border town around Texas that I need to go see besides the Starbucks. So maybe this is their effort to drive tourism. Go to
I wouldn't
Brownsville.
say I wouldn't go.
I would, because I ain't going. Well, maybe you could use one
They
of
have
those real like
affordable.
use those real ID flights that people are not going to take and go to
There we
Brownsville.
go. I could,
Right.
or El Paso. They
Right.
have very affordable housing there too. So never say never.
Yeah, everything
I'll
affordable.
never say
And,
never.
it ain't gonna be no crawfish. It ain't gonna be no
That's
local
fine.
bars that you like. It's nothing gonna be there besides, some local
That's fine.
residents who go to Starbucks and drink 3D printed coffee.
I'll build a bar in my affordable house, so
All
it'll
right,
work
cool.
out.
Well, you can build a bar using a 3D printer and, invite
3D
the
printing.
locals.
There we go.
Invite the locals. So another story that came out of Houston, the Houston area, Texas area, this past Friday was Perry Steakhouse. In an effort to celebrate their 46 years of business, they offered 79-cent pork chops, which is one of their most popular meals. The price was available for the first 100 customers, and at one of the Houston locations, over 700 people arrived and waited in line, with some people waiting in line for over an hour. Did you
Oh
participate in
please.
this over the weekend?
You know better. Did I stand in line at Perry's for an hour? No, I did not.
I would. Shit.
Um,
Why would
Not when
I?
we have Steak 48 right down the
Oh yeah,
street.
yeah. Steak
Now,
48. Yeah, that's the best. It's one of the best steakhouses I've been to.
thank you. I'm just saying. Um, I like Perry's. I think that Perry's is it's a decent place.
Mhm.
Outback Perry's, I'll put them at the same level.
Yeah, I've never.
Um,
I think I ordered a burger from Perry Steakhouse last week. It was good. It was really good.
the fact that you went to Perry's and ordered a burger kind of
I didn't order. I didn't
speaks
go there. I ordered it
volumes.
on Uber. I ordered it on Uber. I didn't want
Whatever.
to leave my house.
You could have ordered a steak on Uber, but you didn't.
No, I did that one time, and that was a bad mistake. When you eat steak, you need to eat it at the restaurant, like when they bring it to you and the plate still sizzling. Do not order it on Uber. Do not do. I
Okay,
made that mistake
that's
one time.
fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so Perry's is in. They have a Perry's in River Oaks. I would
Mhm.
consider it River Oaks, and they have a Steak 48 in River Oaks, obviously in Houston. If you had a choice, they're not that far from each other. You're gonna
Yeah.
go to Steak 48 or you're gonna go to Perry's.
I'm gonna go to Steak 48, but if Perry's is selling me a 79-cent pork chop, I'm going to Perry's.
And you're gonna wait in line for an hour for
Yeah,
a
I'm gonna eat
79
like
cent
I'm gonna eat
steak.
like 4 pork chops and probably buy some other ones to go home and eat those for the rest of the week.
For one, they're probably not gonna let you order four. You're probably gonna have a one per person limit. That's
Okay.
first and foremost.
Okay.
Second, I believe they have. Well, I know when I lived in San Antonio anyway, because we used to go to Perry's in San Antonio. But I think it's on Fridays or during happy hour or something like that. They have the pork chop on sale for like $20, I think. So you're only saving $20.
$20. 20. The pork chop regular price $20, on sale 79 cent. What would you go with? I'm going with the 79 cent. I'm gonna wait an hour.
$20 to save $20.
For $20, I can buy 20 pork chops. So I'm going with the
Ah,
pork chops. For $20,
okay.
I can get pork chops. If they let me get more than one, I can bring them home. I can put them in the refrigerator. I can put them in the freezer. I can have pork chop stew, pork chop soup, fried pork chop, refried pork chop, baked pork chop, and oodles and
Boiled
noodles. Like I
pork
could,
chop.
it's like what's the name of that movie with Forrest Gump and that the other guy that was on a bus with him? I think his name was Gump, something Gump, or Shrimp Gump. He made shrimp and seafood in every way possible. I can make pork chops, pork chop, pork chops every way possible.
No, you can't because
Sandwiches.
you can't even cook.
I can make a pork chop salad.
Okay. You make more than, so I get it for some people, right? Like if you're retired, totally understand it. You're not doing
Mhm,
anything for the day, right?
mhm.
You work, you're a work from home dad or mom.
Yeah. The kids
You
want
make more
pork
than
chops.
$20. Okay. Yes. You're a work from home mom. You want to take your
Mhm,
kids. Everybody get a pork chop. We eating for $3 today.
mhm.
But you make more than $20 an hour. I'm not going out of my way to stand in line for over an hour in Texas heat for a 79-cent pork chop.
I am.
You have
And
kind of lost it a
listen,
little bit.
not only am I going to do it, there were 700 people at one location that did it as well. And I saw the pictures. If you haven't, pull up the pictures, and the line
I
was like
saw it.
around the
I
building of
saw it.
people taking advantage of that sweet deal. So,
But they only gave it to 100 people, right? So 600 people stood in line for no reason.
and that's something I didn't understand. Is like, are they going to let these other people like get pork chops for 79 cents, or
50% off, something.
because you got to imagine, like, if I'm 101, yo, you got to give me my pork. You got to come off them pork chops.
I
Or
will say though, I have never had, as many times as I've been to Perry's, I've always wanted to try the pork chop, but it's
Mhm.
just very thick for me. And I'm a thin pork chop kind of girl. Like, I like
Okay.
the thinner pork chops. But I've never tried the pork chop. So maybe it's just that good.
So So what you're
I
saying
don't
is
know.
that you could take a 79-cent pork chop and make 2 meals out of it. So essentially you got like about a 40-cent pork chop, and you can stretch it even more.
My time is more valuable.
And listen,
Sorry. It's
Perry's,
more
bring it
valuable.
back, offer it to more than 100 people.
They
I
might.
mean,
I want to
if
see
they
what the
offered it,
profits was.
yeah, probably not much. And if they offering it every Friday, I'll be there every Friday because that's a sweet deal.
It
You know,
may
I
have
don't
been
mind.
good if the other 600
Mhm.
people were like, well, we didn't make the 100. We're going to order a pork chop anyway. It may have made some
Right,
money. I don't know.
right,
We'll see.
right.
But
Definitely. It'll be funny if I call like my local Perry's and say, "Hey, do you guys have any pork chops left?" They're gonna probably say,
no.
"Yeah, that was a one time thing, and people ate them all."
Right.
So I guess I got to. I think they were celebrating what 46 years of business. So hopefully next year, at 47, I can get some pork chops for 47 cents.
Yeah, you
So
go ahead and you have a good time with that. Don't invite me.
okay, I won't invite you. Uh, Great. So check this out. Last week we talked about. Well, was it last week? Yeah, it was Wednesday. We talked about Turkey Leg Hut. We gave an update on all the craziness that's going on there. The moment we posted that video to YouTube, I saw that literally hours later, I saw that they were trending for some other stuff. And so now federal authorities are alleging that Turkey Leg Hut was being used as a front for like a large scale drug trafficking operation. And they claim that like Turkey Leg Hut had some type of turkey leg branded narcotics. What's going on in
Yeah.
Houston?
Clearly a lot. I mean, Houston is just never ending with scandals. But I think we kind of talked about this last week. The co-owner, Lynn, he's kind of known around Houston as, being, what's a good word? Just being well known in the community
Okay.
for some craziness.
He's known for being
So
outside.
there we go. He's known for being in the streets and being outside and being a
Okay.
public figure
Mhm.
in the community. But yes, I had heard about this too, where they were branding, stuff that they should not have been selling out of their restaurant.
Mhm.
I don't know if they considered it a restaurant, a bar, a lounge, if it was
Or a
all
trap
three
house.
things.
Or a trap
Right,
house.
trap house.
Yeah.
We're not really sure what it was, but yeah, that's. I think a little bit of me is kind of disappointed because when you think about Houston, you can't say that you don't think about like certain landmarks or pillars, especially
Mhm.
like in our community. And I feel like the Turkey Leg Hut is one of them. So I feel like why taint this huge brand that you created for yourself? Why taint it with illegal activities and especially narcotics? And then obviously we have the arson that we spoke about last week. So you just
Mhm.
hear all of this negative, negative, negative attention. And you really don't hear about the great turkey legs that they were selling out of
Right,
the
right.
business, or
Yeah,
you
and you
know,
shared with us last week that they got turkey. Like I thought it was just basic turkey legs with some type of barbecue sauce on side. You said they got rice in the turkey, they got chicken in the turkey, they got jambalaya in the
pasta.
turkey, pasta in the
Yeah.
turkey. I didn't even know. I should have went to Turkey Leg Hut. Yeah, I didn't even go. I should have went before all of this craziness started happening. But go ahead.
The line wrapped around, like, they had to have one of the longest lines in Houston for a very long time. I know
So,
people who would come into town and stand in the line for hours.
so was the turkey leg 79 cents or they like regular
It was
price?
in fact not 79 cents. No.
Okay. Okay. 'Cause I'm trying to figure out like what this line is long. Maybe they got
No.
79 cent turkey legs.
I think that people just thought the food was really good, and obviously they had a hype about themselves, right? And they were some of the first ones to stuff a turkey leg. But it sucks that, now their brand is being tarnished, because I feel like they could have carried this on for a while. Like, I don't
Mhm.
know if they have kids, but the kids could have picked it up, or a family member could have picked it up. And I feel like just based off of the name, they could have still made profit off of it.
Mhm.
But now I don't think people are going to associate anything positive to Turkey Leg Hut.
Yeah, and like you said, Turkey Leg Hut was a Houston gem when it came to like
Yep.
homegrown restaurants. Um,
Hmm.
there's a few other spots that are homegrown when you think of Houston. But yeah,
Yeah,
Turkey
for
Love
sure.
everyone wanted to go there. I didn't go. But
Me
like you said, the
neither.
line was long. Everybody, my mom even knew about it. That knew about it,
Yeah.
even though she's
My
never
mom
been
too.
to Houston. But a lot of these restaurants, we see long lines, we see the popularity online on TV, but sometimes the margins are small, and so I
Hmm.
guess the margins were so small at this place, they decided to sell Lao. So, I don't know. And
Were the
if it,
were the margins low, or were they being greedy? Because based off the line alone, they had to be sell. I mean, they had to be making a decent amount.
yeah, and I knew they were also in the story before all of this arson and trafficking stuff was in the news for not paying employees. So,
Yeah.
not paying employees, turkey leg branded Lao. And for people who don't know what Lao is, it's Mary Jane marijuana. It's just another slang for it. Um, I mean, it's just crazy. And if it is true, like the federal authorities allege, and it goes to trial, and they don't accept I guess a plea deal or whatever. Uh, Not only could he go to jail, his wife or his business partners may potentially go to jail because you just don't sell large amounts of something like that, and the business owners don't know, and the certain employees don't know. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that she wasn't in on it.
Mhm.
I actually don't even know. Since he's been in the media, I haven't heard anything about her.
Oh, her
So
lawyer
maybe
told
that's
her to
something.
stop talking. Her lawyer said keep quiet, so she's
Okay.
probably
I
not going to
mean,
talk.
which that's
This
fine,
is
but
best. Yeah.
it's just funny how, he has all of this negative press. I hope that she continues to, be quiet and lay low as long as
Mhm.
possible, especially if she wasn't involved. But definitely we'll have to look at, how things are going with her too. They were
Yeah,
married at one point, so
it's crazy. It's you go from the arson. We covered that story. Later, I see like the whole federal authority story that made national news. Like I was looking at a national website when I
hmm.
saw that, and at first I didn't click on the link because I thought it was just like some fake news. I thought it was just like something somebody made up. But I started seeing it in other places, and I'm like, why would you run your business like this? Why would you put yourself in that position to potentially go to jail, put your wife in danger, put your business in danger?
I don't think
So
he care about her. They
yeah.
have been in their relationship in general has
Mhm.
always had negative press around it. But I also don't think that you can trust somebody who would pay people $1,400 to do arson either. So,
Yeah, that's
and I know
crazy.
that that's all alleged, but I
Mhm.
mean, there's just a
Well,
lot
it's not
of
alleged. If you see the
negativity.
video, I mean, we saw the
I know.
activity. We don't. The only thing alleged at this point is how much they got paid, and who told them to do it. But we saw the
Yeah.
video. I don't know why would you commit a crime on camera. Like it's obvious. Like nobody
Yeah.
walks around with a container of gasoline and douses buildings, causes them to explode. Not only do you vandalize and you burn a building, another business, you do it in the
Yeah.
same neighborhood where your business is at.
Right. It's crazy. It's literally crazy.
It's
They're
wow. That's
like
yeah,
kitty corner to one another.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's the equivalent of me like going to your house, throwing rocks and knocking at your windows, and then running back to my house like nobody's gonna see me running back to my house. So it's just
Especially in today's age where everything is recorded, everything is visible. It's yeah. I think he just thought he was bigger than the program and he would get away with it, which he did for
yeah.
half a decade. But yeah, came
And
back.
in a half a decade, they're gonna have a half a decade of evidence, and
Yeah.
you just gotta pray for him, pray for his wife, pray for the kids. I don't. I think they're divorced, right?
I believe they're divorced.
Okay. Okay. Well,
I don't know if they have
she.
kids, but I
Okay.
would
Well,
assume that they probably do.
yeah, she's gonna be single. And speaking of single women, this is a story that you shared with me earlier. Um, the Wall Street Journal published an article titled "Women Are Giving Up on Marriage." Within this article, it shared details that show that about 50% of U.S. women aged 18 to 40 were single in 2023, up from 41.8% in 2000. Some of the other key takeaways that this article highlighted is that the reason that these women are single or choosing to be single is because of changing societal norms around marriage. I know you're a woman, so I want to hear your opinion on this. Like, what are your thoughts on what's going on in terms of individuals electing not to get married?
Yeah. Well, in addition to being a woman, I am a
Mm.
single woman
Okay, well,
myself.
when,
So,
when my single ladies at? What's that, Beyonce?
yes. So I fall obviously into this category. And I think that my opinion would just be I do agree. Obviously, things have changed from when our parents were dating, when they were married. Um, do I want to be married? Yes, I do. Do I
Mhm,
want to have kids? If I can, yes, I do. But am I going to give up what I feel like is important to me to have those things? No, I'm not.
mhm. Yeah.
And I think that that's the general basis for a lot of women. We're just not willing to settle anymore.
Mhm,
I don't know if you know a ton of people who have been married for, we'll say, 20 plus years.
mhm,
My parents, they have been married for a long time. They're still married to this day.
mhm. Shout out.
I have aunts.
Shout out
Yeah,
to mom and dad.
it's amazing. Yes.
Y'all miss these pork chops, but next year.
my Hey, my mom makes some of the best pork chops. I don't think she would want a Perry's pork chop, but
Oh,
I have
who cooks? Who's a better cook, mom or dad?
mom makes better like southern
Okay.
black food.
Mhm.
My dad, he makes better just everything. He's
Okay.
more like well rounded. My mom is very specific in her cooking,
Okay. Well, at
so
least they both
I would
cook.
give it to my dad.
That's good. They
Yes.
both cook. I think my mom does most of the cooking in the house. But go ahead. That's another story. So,
um, which that those play roles in marriages.
mhm,
But I come from a family where people have been married for a long time,
mhm.
but we don't talk about a lot of times what people go through to stay married for
Oh
20
yeah.
plus years.
Yeah.
A
Definitely.
lot of married couples who have been married for a very long time go through hell and back, and they accept a lot of things to keep that marriage that some people are just not willing to accept. So I think that that plays a
It's all
role.
about compromise. All about compromise. Any relationship.
Yes, I agree. But there are some things for some people that are unforgivable that other people do forgive, right?
Mhm,
Um, and I also think another key factor is that obviously you have a lot of working women these days. You
mhm,
have a lot of women who have multiple degrees, who have good jobs. They're making, a certain amount of money. You didn't have that 30, 40 years ago. So if a woman is able to upkeep her life without a man, then it's kind of like, what do I need them for?
mhm.
So I think there's just a lot of different factors that did not come into play 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But I would like to know what your opinions are.
So I think the biggest thing is societal norms. You got to imagine, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, it was very taboo to be over a certain age and still single.
Yep. Yes.
Uh,
Agreed.
it's not just women. So, that's one thing I didn't like about the article. Like
Hmm.
it's men and women. It's not just uh, women. If 50% of women are single, that means a comparable number should be, for the similar number should be out there for the men as well. Um,
I think it was a little bit less so for men. It was
mhm.
more, so that specific article, I can't remember the exact number, but it did say that more men are in relationships than women. More women are single.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think like you said, everyone in my family's married. The folks in your family are married. I think my mom's been married for about 15 or 20 years. So that's good. But I mean, folks should want to get married. There's a lot of
I agree.
economic benefits to
I
being
agree.
married. I mean, being young sounds cool when you're in your 20s and 30s, and if you're healthy, your 40s. But come 50 years old, 60 years old, can you imagine being grandma's age or granddad's age and just being alone, like not having
Yes,
anyone to support
I
you? I mean,
can.
that can be very difficult. Um, so another key takeaway the article mentioned, which I call it cap on, which I think is a lie. Um, it said many women are embracing alternative family models, which I don't have an issue with that. But it also said including single motherhood by choice, and I don't think anyone. Well, it could be some random folks out there that are deciding to become single moms. Like being a single parent
No, people are.
is
People are.
extremely expensive. Like some people are, but I don't know too many people are saying, "Oh yeah, I want to be a single parent." Like that's a challenge. I mean, healthy children need two parents.
What do you think the alternative is though? Do you think a woman should settle and have a crappy partner who's not there, or choose to go into motherhood by doing an alternative method and just
So
being alone from the get-go?
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't use the word settle. Um,
What word would you use?
I wouldn't use any word to describe it. Just say, folks just need to just choose smart partners at an early age instead of waiting until uh, you know they're later in life or in their 40s or 50s and trying to find someone. Um, yeah, I wouldn't use the word settle. I'll say just find a partner earlier. Um,
So what if you don't find a partner though, and you're in your 40s, your time is ticking? Do you think that person should just choose to have a child with a partner, or they should have a child on their own and go into it knowing I'm a single parent, there isn't going to be a second parent there?
Being a single parent is very difficult. Like like you said, your parents are married. If you had to ask your mom or dad, like I don't know how many siblings you have, but if you had to ask your mom and dad, hey, how would you fare raising two, three, four, five? I don't know how many siblings you have, raising all of us with a single income and no support. They're gonna be like, yo, I'm not doing that. That's very difficult. Like being a single parent is very difficult. It
Okay,
is expensive and difficult. And
but I
plus,
don't
like I
think the
said,
people who
children
are
need moms and dads.
agreed. I do agree with you, but I don't think that the people who are choosing. Okay, so I'm going to use an example. Her name is Ebony. I can't think of her last name, but she's a commentator, like a political commentator.
Mm.
And she was on the Real Housewives for like one or two seasons, the Real Housewives of New York. She chose to have a baby. I don't know if she did surrogacy. I don't know if she carried the baby herself. I really don't know how the baby got here, but she chose to be a single mom and have a kid on her own because she just didn't get married, or didn't have a partner that she felt like she could have a child with. She's wealthy. She
But yeah, the average
obviously
person
has the
isn't
means,
wealthy though. Yeah, the average
but
person
that's
doesn't
the
have those
thing.
means.
The average person isn't going to choose surrogacy or IVF or whatever,
Mm.
to conceive a child without a parent, because those measures in itself are
Expensive.
expensive.
Oh yeah, those
So most,
from what I understand, like rounds of I think it's called what IVF, uh,
hmm,
costs what 15 $20,000 a round, and then
yeah,
I think you have storage fees for the eggs or the embryos. I mean, I'm
yeah,
not
freezing
doing
your
medical
eggs is
research on
expensive.
yeah, yeah, I'm not doing research on that because I'm not in a position to explore that right now. But I don't think the average person got 20K laying around to go through multiple failed rounds of some type of fertilization process.
So then they wouldn't be having a baby on their own then. So I think the argument is really not about the financial capacity, because the
Mhm,
people who are doing that, they're financially able to take care of a kid by themselves.
mhm.
I think that the conversation more so needs to be around how we're raising me, you, and how we're interacting with others, because I feel like we've kind of really lost the plot
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
with,
Yeah, I
our
think
parents.
that should be. I think that should be the more important conversation that people should be having instead of talking about settling and having kids at advanced age. I know we covered a similar topic a few weeks ago, a few episodes ago, where we talked about a lot of this stuff is cultural, like in certain households,
Yeah,
certain
for
regions of
sure.
the country, folks are getting married at 25, 30 years old. And then you look at other regions of the country, people are waiting to later in their life to have kids or do whatever they want to do. And so I think, like you said, that conversation needs to be had. And it doesn't need to be had on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It needs to be happening in a household with parents like your parents, not you specifically, but parents talking to
Hmm.
their teens and their young adults at
Yeah,
an early age instead of waiting until they're 20, 30, 40 years old and giving them bad advice. Talk to them early. Talk to them early.
agreed.
I mean, it's important to reinforce good principles earlier in life so your kids follow them instead of waiting until they're much older and they've been influenced by media, their friends, and what else is
Yep,
going on in the world.
totally
So
agree.
yeah, yeah, like I said, certain regions of the country, people are getting married at 25 years old,
20,
25. Yeah,
20, 21. Yeah.
right. And you look at some couples who are not concerned with keeping up with the Joneses or living in the greatest neighborhood. Like some of those just average couples, like my grandparents, your grandparents. I don't know if your grandparents are average, but I consider my grandparents average folk. They were together 50, 60 years. um I mean, people just need to accept that, because you use the word settle, and I think a lot a lot of conversations that go on today, people think that they don't consider themselves average. They consider themselves like, oh, I'm the top 2%. I'm the top 3%. I'm going to find a mate that's also at the top of the top. Like, no, like you're average. I'm average. I'm not saying you're average, but I consider myself an average guy. Whether
No, I do
whatever
too. Like I work
depending
a
on
nine
what I
to
drive
five.
or my
Yeah.
job, my lifestyle, I'm an average dude.
I think most of us are average. The only
Yeah,
people who really
there's
aren't
nothing wrong
average
with
are
being average.
Beyonce, the
Right, right,
president. Like
right.
most people are average.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with your comment about settling. I think a lot of people in relationships settle. They settle because they want a baby. They settle because they want to be married. They settle
Mhm.
because they need a two-person income household. I think a lot of people in relationships settle. And once you peel back the layers and you see a lot of people post, their good stuff, or not post, but talk about their, good parts, but you don't see that there's DV involved, there's cheating involved, there's an outside baby, there's,
Yeah.
all these
That's not
different
new.
things.
That's not new. If you go, talk to your grandparents or talk to what other whoever you have in your life that's 60, 70, 80 years old, like what's going on today was going on 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. The reason it's more
50
talked
million
about,
years ago.
yeah, it's always been going on. The thing is, today we have camera, everyone has a camera in their hand, is a smartphone. Everyone's posting everything on social media, and so it's more visible. It's always going on. There's always gonna be, when granddad die or some uncle dies, and you go to the funeral. There's cousins that you've never met. There's kids that you've never seen. There's grandma's side man is there. Like it's just this stuff is always going on. Domestic violence isn't new. It's not. It, that type of stuff has been going on, whether it's physical or verbal. It goes on in all type of relationships. It goes on in relationships that are not even intimate. Like you have friends who, even though they're friends, they will argue with each other, and then
Yeah,
20 minutes
agreed.
later, they out eating crawfish.
That's not domestic violence though, but not even verbally.
Yeah,
And I hear you. This has, and I'm not arguing with that. This hasn't been going on for a very long time, but that doesn't mean. I think that people conflict like settling with being. I guess I am probably not articulating myself well, but
mhm.
just because all these different relationships have gone through things, that still doesn't make it right. Like to have a
Yeah, I
successful
agree.
marriage, you don't have to go through the three pillars of cheating, domestic violence, and
Yeah,
just
yeah, I
pure
agree.
unloyalty.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you look at not all, but a lot of relationships. The reason why they have been married for 50 years is because they put up with a lot of crap. Are
You
you
have
willing to put
to.
up with that?
Yes, you have to compromise.
Nah, I'm
You
sorry.
have to
I can
compromise.
compromise with you wanting to go to Colombia with your friends. You want to go on a
I'm not
boys'
going.
trip?
I don't want to go. I don't want to go to Colombia. But I understand what you're saying. I don't want to go.
You want to go on a boys' trip? I
I
can
want. I want to go
compromise
get
on
them pork
that.
chops. I'm gonna take my boys. We're gonna go down and get these pork chops.
Okay, y'all want to go to Paris? I could compromise there. You want to have two other girlfriends and have a pregnancy on the side? I can't compromise with that.
so,
Like,
so let me say this. Like I said, this stuff has been going on since the beginning of time. Let's take this away from intimate relationships, marriage.
hmm
Let's just look at work. Think
okay,
about your first. Think about your first job. I don't know if you want to share it, but think about that job.
Little
You don't have to
Caesars.
share it. All right. Now, what if? Okay, what if you got married to Little Caesars when you were 16? When I say married to
Okay,
Little Caesars, married to that first employer.
right.
Like Little Caesars, they're going to pay you every other week. They're going to give you benefits. The relationship may not be the best. It may be rocky. You may have a customer to come
hmm
in and steal this and run out. Like no relationship is perfect. So no
This isn't
job
a good
that you've ever had.
analogy.
To me, it is because no job you've ever had is perfect. Like you may have one job. I'll put it this way: every relationship has its pluses and its minuses, its pros and its
Agreed.
cons. Put it
I
that way.
agree.
So if you want to be in a relationship that's going to pay you $250,000 a year, they may ask you to travel 80% of the time.
hmm
Like you have to give. It's like a give take relationship.
Yes,
It's
agreed.
in order to make $250,000 a year, they may ask you to work overnight some days.
hmm
So like you want the money, you want the benefits package, but they're going to stretch you thin. I'm not going to say they're going to work you to death, but they're going to put you in some uncomfortable positions. That's the
hmm
reason why they're paying you that much because most folks cannot tolerate it. Now, if you want a perfect job where you work from home, we pay you 8 hours a day, you only work 2 hours a day, you get to play Mario Kart when you're supposed to be doing work. They don't ask you to travel. You can do whatever you want to do. They may only pay you $45,000 a year, but you have flexibility to do whatever you want with that type of job. So you got to understand like there's
I hear
pros and
you.
cons to every relationship. So if you want the girl or the guy that's considered that $250,000 job or equivalent to that $250,000 job, you got to put up with a lot of stuff. You got to put up with a
A
lot of
lot of
stuff.
stuff is not cheating. A lot of
Okay,
stuff is
okay.
not DV.
So you say a lot of I don't think the average guy is going around like, or the average woman is even doing it. No, I don't. I
Just
don't think
kidding.
that.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I don't think the average guy doing it. Or the average woman, because it goes both ways, not just men.
Yes. No,
Women
I
women are
agree.
doing it
I
too. So
agree.
I don't think that's going on. But are you willing to? So let's say you got a husband, or not you, or anyone has a spouse, and they're everything you want. There's going to be some stuff that you have to put up with.
Yeah,
You
of
agree to
course.
that?
They
So
may
what are
chew
you?
with their mouth open. They may snore. Those are the things that you're gonna put up with. It may be too. This is a personality thing because
Yeah,
we have differing personalities.
yeah.
I have never been with a job for more than 2 years. I haven't worked any job for more than two
Okay,
years.
Okay.
I will be hitting my 2 years on my current employer. Obviously, I'm gonna
Well,
go
don't
beyond the
leave.
2 year mark.
Don't
No, no, no.
leave.
I don't have plans to leave. But I am a firm believer. If something is not serving you, move forward. You don't need to suffer in life because you
Okay.
need to have this
I got a
job. It
counter
gives you
to that.
good benefits.
I have a counter
Okay,
to that.
go ahead.
It's easy to do that, and I'm taking it back to employment. It's easier to move forward when you're 16 and you're making minimum wage. When you're 20 and you're making, 15, $20 an hour. When you're 30 and you're making X. But once you start moving into the category of being a having a job with an employer that's paying you an extremely high income, it's sort of like a pyramid. It's like you're
I
trying to
don't
go
agree.
higher. You're trying to go. I'm talking about employer. I'm not talking about the
I
relationship.
am too. I am too.
So imagine if you got an employer that pays you, like I said, $250,000. Is it easy for you to just
Hmm.
quit and go get another job the next week?
It's not easy to get a new job the next week anywhere, even at a minimum
Yeah.
wage job. So I think that's
Yeah. I
kind
just
of
don't. I just don't. Yeah. I just listen. If you want a lot, you got to put up with a lot. And the stuff that you want to put up with, it's like smacking, chewing with their mouth open. To me, that's small stuff that's just small stuff that everyone has to put up with if your spouse does that. Uh, but you know, and it's funny because you originally sent me this article via I think Instagram.
Instagram. Yeah.
I read like 3 comments and I closed it. Like I don't know if you read the comments. It was all
I
negative.
don't. It's always
It was
negative.
just it was bashing.
Instagram is
It was
always
gender
negative, so it
bashing.
doesn't
It's
matter.
just gender
Yeah.
bashing. It's like how do people put up reading this stuff all day? It's like I don't want to read somebody bashing women all day. I don't want to read somebody bashing men all day. It was
Oh, but that's
bashing.
a huge part of the problem that everybody is bashing
Yeah.
everybody. And I don't want this to seem like a bashing issue, at
Yeah, it's
least for
not.
me
It's a
anyway. But
serious concern when you have a significant portion of any population that is unwed. Because if you don't marry
yeah,
somebody, the government is going to have to marry you, and the government is going to have to pay for your benefits and your housing. Like you can't work for the rest of your life. You can't do certain things in advanced age. Somebody's going to have to take care of you, and if it's not going to be your spouse, if it's not going to be your children or your community, it's going to be the government.
to an extent, there's benefits for
Yeah.
long-term care too. But
Yeah, you don't want to live in them
um,
houses. You don't want to live in those houses. Those
hey, that may be better than your spouse taking care of you. I'm just saying.
I'd
Um,
rather deal with a spouse that's chewing with their mouth open than living in the old folks' home.
but this is
So
what I want to. So I definitely want people to comment about this. Like, do you think it's better to find your partner and we won't use the term settle, but maybe they aren't who you would consider yourself to be with, but you're with them anyway for the sake of marriage.
so
Would you rather do okay,
no,
clean it up.
go ahead. No, go ahead, because I got
No,
another
go
question for you.
ahead.
So
I want to hear
I
what
I
everybody
don't
thinks in the comments.
I don't know if I'm gonna put you on the spot right now. I don't know who you're closer with, your mom or your dad. Who are you closer with?
My
Who are you
mom.
closer with? Okay.
My mom.
You talk to her every day or once a week or whatever?
I did, not so much now.
Because you're older now. You got other stuff going on.
Yeah.
So if I don't know if you talk to your mom about marriage and dating or no?
I did, yeah. Not so much
No,
now
currently.
cuz
Okay.
currently no.
If you talk to your mom, and I'm not
She
trying to
would tell
bash,
me, don't, she would tell me, I'm going to tell you what she would tell me because she tells
go
me this
ahead.
all the
I didn't even
time.
ask my question yet, but go ahead.
You don't need to ask it. No, just playing. I still want you to ask it, but she would tell me, I'm going to say this before you ask your question. She would tell me, for one, this is what she used to tell me before I was of age, to stay single, not have kids as long as possible, and to live my life to the fullest. And someone would find me when the time is right. We'll start there. Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, so like again, like I don't know your parents. I'm just, this is just for the show. Like it comes back to
Mhm.
giving younger people, daughters, sons, nephews, uncles, nephews, nieces, good advice. And so I'm not a father, I'm not a parent, but like I would tell my kids, yeah, live your best life. But the whole somebody's gonna find you eventually, like at the same time, like as humans, like we got clocks. And when you're a woman, you have a biological clock when it comes to being able to bear children. So that's something that we need to keep in mind. But what I wanted to originally say is that, I don't know if your mom and your dad met when they were teens in their early 20s, but a lot of
They were very
times,
young.
okay, a lot of times people who they marry and who they end up staying together with and growing to love, it's not who they originally wanted to be with. So the
Mhm.
guy or the girl that you want to date, that may not be the best person that you need to spend 50, 60, 70 years with. Like there's a difference between dating for somebody to have fun with, have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and also dating someone to be in a significant, serious marriage with. Like those two people are going to have, and those two relationships are going to have different traits and different qualities. Like if you're looking for a guy to go on a date with next week, he's going to be different than a guy that you may be looking to as a serious partner. Like they're going to different attributes, different traits, different qualities.
Mhm.
If the popular show Pop the Balloon that everybody watches, a lot of times people just look at somebody and they say, "Oh, they're not tall enough," or "I don't like their clothes, I don't like the way they sound, I don't like what they do for a living." But that person that you're tossing to the side may be a serious candidate for a partner because they are someone that can help you raise children. They are somebody that's going to be by your side when you're ill. Uh, Someone that you want to retire with, someone that you want to, sleep next to for, 40 years. So, we have to definitely just, check our emotions and check our feelings when it comes to people that we want to just casually date and people who we want to, be with for a serious relationship.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I too think, like, I just kind of think back on my own personal relationships and thinking where I'm at now. None of
Mhm.
those, anybody who I've been with in the past that
Mhm.
I would, if I would have married them, I don't think I would be with them today.
Okay.
So, I do think that, you evolve, you change,
We all
what you
change.
want
Yep.
is different. Obviously, when you make a vow to someone, I mean, that's supposed to be permanent. You're supposed to stick with them for the rest of your life. So,
And yeah, like the pastor or the person that I don't know what's the name of the individual that does the marrying. Is that the pastor? I don't know
the
the name.
officiant,
The
whatever.
official, whatever. I don't know the name of it, but it's
Clearly, we haven't been married.
yeah, it's like they say through thick or thin.
Yeah,
Whether this
right.
whether this person steps out, whether this person has a side kid, whether this person does that. I know you making faces. Whether this person loses their job, like you can't you know just run away when times are hard. You cannot run away when times are hard. You cannot think about if you make yourself
Yeah,
a
I'm
like
just
we
not
talked
mature
about
enough, I guess.
the article talked about people electing to be single parents. And I see parents, whether they're single parents or they're married, your kids may do effed up stuff one day. You can't stop being their parent. Like you may have a son or a daughter that, is facing jail time for arson for collecting $1,500 from a businessman. You don't stop being their parent. You're gonna be by
Yeah.
them through thick or thin. So you can't just like toss them out because of one bad deed. Because if you think about the stuff they used to do as a kid, I mean, your parents, my parents, they would have been tossed us out. But, we learn from that, they probably spank us or do whatever, and you move on.
I think that's a very black and white way of thinking of things, though,
Mhm.
because you have Jeffrey Dahmer, you have
Oh, we not talking about
all
no
these
Jeffrey
persons.
Dahmer. We
No,
talking
but
about the
let's be
average bad kid.
okay. Yes, I hear you,
I know
but
you
we're
may be
also
Jeffrey
talking
Dahmer
about.
eating people, but I wasn't doing that.
I'm not.
I was throwing rocks and stealing candy bars. I mean, I wasn't eating people and eating their
I get
brains
it,
and all that.
and I'm going to an extreme level, right? But we're saying that, yeah, in a black and white scenario, people should
Mhm.
just stick through it. And I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be miserable because we made a vow to each other.
Well,
Like,
if
no,
if we take that approach
no,
that you're throwing out, we're going to constantly be going through partners. We're going to constantly be going through marriages. We're going to constantly be going through jobs
I don't think
because
so. No, you just do right by your partner. Like, yes, I think
I
that things are gonna
agree.
get
You want to
sticky and be
be the
wrong.
best person you can to not only yourself, to your partner, to your family, to community. if you go ask, I know your mom is still young, you're young, so she's not gonna tell you this, but once your mama become an old woman, like when she become in her 70s, she's gonna start having some conversations with you because she's gonna have that old lady quality of not caring about anything. And she's gonna tell you some stuff, and you're gonna be like, he did
No,
what?
we've
Dad
had
did
those
what?
conversations. They
Yeah.
both done bad things.
They still
But
together.
again,
Mhm.
as someone who's grown up, and I appreciate them for staying together and, bringing us up in a two-parent household.
Yeah.
But not all two-parent households should have two parents. They should have one. And I
I
don't
don't know
care
about
what
that.
anybody
I
says.
don't know about that.
No, nope, nope, nope.
I don't know about that.
I'm
Yeah.
saying that, and I've said that for a very long time now.
Yeah.
I think, and as someone who's been in child welfare, not every parent is meant to be together. You do more
Mhm.
damage to your kids sometimes
Yeah. Yeah.
by staying
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Some relationships are not healthy and it's best to split, but some relationships, most relationships are best with two parents. But now if it's something crazy
Yeah.
going on, yeah, of course, if it's for the health of the child, of course you gotta split for the health of the child. But like Kaya said, let us know what you think in the
Very juicy
comments.
topic.
And, if we get some comments, we can discuss this again next week. But the
Yeah, I want to know
comments
what
that were
other
on,
people's thoughts are.
yeah, the comments that were on IG was just so it was bashing. And I'm not on social media like you, but it's like, man, how could you read this stuff? It was just bashing, bashing,
You have to
bashing.
filter it out. Yeah.
I'm
Or
like,
you
oh my
start to turn
God.
into that.
It was so disgusting. It's like, why are people so angry out here? And I'm not
I
on the
think people
internet, so
are
I
just
sound I sound like an
I
old
think people
man
are
because
just
I'm not on the internet and I'm not bad. I don't go around bashing women and bashing people. No.
yeah. I think people are just tired of dating, and I'm kind of in that bucket. Like,
Mm.
dating is very hard these days. Like, when I went on dates in my 20s were better than they were now.
Why you ain't get
So I
married
think
in your
that people
20s? Why you ain't married these guys in your 20s?
because those are guys that I would not have married. But
So why
yeah,
you
I
date
think
them?
that people are just hmm? No,
Why did
good
you date these
question.
guys?
Because I was young and I was dumb.
So
Young and
okay,
dumb,
it
but
goes
now I know
back
better.
to stop giving. We need to have those conversations with people when they're young, so they're not wasting their time. I had a coworker years ago, and he came from I guess, an immigrant family, and he was telling me in his culture. I'm not going to say what country his parents are from, what country he was from. We said in his culture, they don't date to casually date; they date to get
Hmm.
married. Some of these other groups of people, some of these other cultures outside of American culture, they date one person, they get married. They're not like constantly chasing new people, constantly seeing who has a better benefits package, who's going to pay more salary.
Yes,
No,
they
you
do.
find what?
Yes, they do. Other cultures, they're very
Not,
big on you not dating the local bum.
of course, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. I'm just saying, like,
Okay.
certain, not, I don't want to call out the country that this coworker's from, but the group that he's come from, I mean, I've never the divorce rates are extremely low, and one thing he told me is that we don't date to casually date, we date to get married. So, but like I said, leave a comment if you're hearing this conversation.
Yes.
Some of this stuff is it's too triggering for me. When I read the comments, I'm like, my heart is like beating. I'm like, man, why are you attacking these people? Uh,
Yeah. And
but
even you and
also
I, we
just
have different views
yeah, we have different
on
views, but
it.
also it just comes like people just need to do a lot of people. I'm not saying you, but people just need to do a better job when it comes to mate selection. Don't choose somebody because they look this way or they talk this way or they dress this way. You need to be looking at other characteristics that a person has. If I'm looking at someone that I want to seriously date to marry, I ask myself one question. Do I want this woman to be the child of my daughter? I'm sorry, do I
I
want
used to
this
ask,
woman to be the mother of my daughter?
I used to ask myself that, and I don't feel
It's
like
it's simple.
that's a great question, but I don't feel like that's enough because they could be an amazing parent, but the worst spouse in the world. And how are they a good parent if they're not a good spouse? So I'm just
Easy,
saying, I don't
easy.
think that's the best. No, I don't
Yeah.
think so.
I mean, for me, we like you said, we got different opinions on it. We
Differing
got different
views.
opinions
Yeah.
because I mean, if you want to eat with your mouth open, Go eat in the closet somewhere. Don't eat in front of me. Go eat in the closet. But that's some people I rarely come across women who do petty stuff like that, eat their mouth open or um, stuff like that. But it's an interesting topic. I don't want to become Instagram comments and start bashing
Agreed.
people. So
Let's keep our
so
friendship.
right. I mean, even if we disagree, which we
I
already
know.
do, I'll still be your friend. I'm not gonna run off and get another
Thank
co-host
you.
because you got a different opinion, even though it's wrong.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So, age gap relationships have been in the news lately. As if
Oh
they're not
goodness.
new. I mean, age gap relationships
Mhm.
have gone on since the beginning of time. So, from Tracy Ellis Ross to Gen Z women openly coming out saying they prefer older guys to Shannon Sharp. Now it's back in the
Yeah.
news with Bill Belichick. And so Belichick, the former New England Patriots head coach, has been making the news lately because of his age gap relationship with his girlfriend who's in her mid-20s. The couple has been dating for a few years, but has been drawing recent media attention because of her active role in Bill Belichick's not only personal life but his professional life. So him as a coach at UNC, and also the personal stuff that he has going on off the field. So Kaya, age gap relationships have been going on for, like I said, since the beginning of time. Why do people keep bringing this back up?
I think that for most people, it's just the topic of like when you get to a certain age, you are just very curious and intrigued in why someone in there, he's in his 60s or 70s, right?
Yeah, he's like in his 60s.
Okay. Why someone in their 60s would be interested in someone in their 20s. I don't care who, date whoever you want. It doesn't have a bearing on my day to day life. I don't care.
Mhm.
But it is intriguing because we've had this conversation before. As someone in their early 30s, I can't see myself dating someone in their early 20s. That's only a 10-year gap. He's dating someone 40 years. Like, what do you talk about? What do you bond over?
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think that people are just intrigued with, stuff that isn't so common.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. They're just intrigued, and it's more common than you realize. Like I said, with social media, with camera phones, with what we're doing right now, it gets talked about a lot.
Mhm.
I just don't know why people are, policing other people's relationships, because I've seen some weird stuff out here and it ain't got nothing to do with age gaps. There's other weird stuff that people be doing. And I'm like, that's weird. But I
Mhm.
walk right past it. I don't care about it. And it's funny because Tracy Ellis Ross, she says she dates much younger guys. I know Shannon Sharp was dating Shannon Sharp was dating somebody in their 20s, and now
Yep.
Bill Belichick is with a younger lady that's in her 20s. So when are we going to see you with somebody in their 20s?
Never.
Okay, what about 45?
uh Maybe next week. What about
Okay,
you?
okay,
When you gonna date somebody in their 20s?
maybe next week.
And I think that's what also makes it interesting. Like the Tracy Ellis Ross is speculation on the age, right? We don't know what the age
But
is.
she said it. If you
Shannon,
got to go back and listen to the
no, she
whole interview.
didn't.
She
No, she
said she
didn't.
does not. She said she does not date guys in her generation, and then
We're
she
gonna argue
said
about
she
this
date.
every week.
I'm gonna send you the video so you can watch it because you won't. I think you're trying to avoid the video. She said she does not date guys in her generation. She likes
Hmm.
guys that are much younger. So if you're let's use a generic age. If you're 30, no, let's make it
Much
older. If
younger
you're
to
no 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 no
me
no no no
could
no
be
no no. Let me
28.
do it. So
Okay.
if you're 40 years old, what is a guy that's much younger to you? If you're 40 years old,
To me, much younger could be 32.
to me, much younger is not 32. To me, 32 is younger.
It's up to interpretation. That's
I
the
agree.
thing.
I agree. So she likes young guys. They don't like her. Bill Belichick's like young women. Well,
But
his
that's my
girlfriend likes him.
issue. We are speculating what Tracy Ellis Ross's
She's not
dating number
successful,
is.
so we got to
It
speculate. Bill Belichick is
Okay.
successful.
It doesn't matter. Shannon, we know, was dating someone
In their
early
20s,
20s. Bill, we know, is dating someone early 20s.
mid
It's a
20s.
40 mid 20s. It's a
Okay.
40-year gap between them two.
I
We
got a
don't know that
question.
that's the case with Tracy.
I got a
Okay.
question. If Bill Belichick was dating somebody that's 20 years older than him, would this be a news story?
That would be weird if he was 60 dating somebody 100 that is close to having their foot in heaven.
Do you think people be
That would be
criticizing
odd.
him? People be criticizing him for dating a woman
Probably.
that's okay.
If she
So
was
he
if she was almost in the afterlife, yeah. For sure.
okay. I mean, like I said, when we talked about the age gap dating a few weeks ago, I mean, date who you want to date because there's some, as
I
you know,
agree.
there's some weird stuff out here when people come when it comes to dating that people don't really want to address. But I mean, Bill Belichick, he's been a successful head coach, arguably the greatest head coach in the NFL history. Let this man enjoy his life. I think he's divorced. He has adult children at this time. Um, he's enjoying his life, and I think the reason why he broke up with his ex-wife was because she was chewing with her mouth open, and he said, "You know what? I'm tired of these
hmm
older women chewing with their mouths
Probably.
open, and I'm gonna give me a mid 20-something-year-old woman that can close her mouth and
Maybe.
chew her food." You know,
Probably.
you can't have them
Or
79-cent pork chops spraying the room.
okay. So when 5 years from now, when he got one foot in heaven and
Who
she
said he about to
taking
die?
okay, 20 years dead, my bad.
Man, you
And
want the man to die?
I don't. I promise I don't.
Come
And she
on.
takes half of what he owns, and we're talking about this same topic, I don't want to hear nothing. You're gonna be having a conversation with yourself.
So if he passes away, of course he's in a position where he has trust. Well, I don't know him personally, but he has
hmm
wills, trusts, he has stuff like laid out. Like I said, he has adult children. So I'm not in his position. But if I was married and I had the assets he had, all of my assets are going to my children, and it's my children's responsibility to take care of my wife.
hmm
So whatever she gets, I mean, they're two consenting adults. They're having fun. I seen them on the red carpet. He had his nice suit on. She had her nice dress on. They were smiling. They having fun.
Which he should
They
have
having fun.
fun. He's obligated to, or he's entitled to have fun. Love
Yeah,
that
I
for him.
mean, like we talked about moments ago, she said, "I'm not about to settle for these guys. I'm about to get Bill Belichick's." So she doing good. She
And
didn't
I love
settle.
that for her.
Would you say she's settling?
No, no, I mean,
Good,
kinda.
good. So
He
you
not
agree
good
with this
looking,
relationship?
but I'm not saying
You
I
agree
agree
with
with
this
it.
relationship? Yeah. You don't
From her
agree? Why not?
standpoint, she's doing amazing. But when he's
Yeah, she not.
crying or his kids crying because everything that went to her in the next 20 years,
He
then
ain't. I doubt he like that. I doubt he. Like I said, his kids are adults. I think one of his kids coaches as well. I don't know if he has like multiple, but I know he has a son. So she's
weren't
not
they just
settling.
talking about her and her like overstepping in his interviews?
That's,
And so it already sounds like she has a very strong hold on him. But I mean, maybe
yeah,
you're right.
yeah. Like I said, they've been dating for about 4 or 5 years. So you know, and I think the reason why it's in the news the past week is because of the CBS interview.
hmm
And CBS, they claim they did not edit the video, and Bill's camp is claiming they put edits on the video. So,
hmm
at the end of the day, Bill is happy. She's happy. She's not settling. Um, I still haven't slid in Tracy Ellis Ross DMs yet.
I'm waiting.
Um, after seeing them comments that I read on that post you sent me, I'm like, I got to be careful. She may screenshot this and put it on the internet, and then everybody's be
You
like,
don't
"Yeah,
even
Tony
have
was trying to."
social media.
I'm gonna create one just to slide in her DM. I'm gonna have one picture on my profile, and I'm gonna say, "Hey, Miss Tracy, I just saw
Exactly.
this."
So nobody's gonna
So,
know who you are. It's
right,
fine.
right. So, well, maybe you can slide on my behalf
uh-uh.
since you got a
I'm
big
nobody's
following,
wing woman. No, I
huh?
don't. And I'm nobody's wing woman.
We all need a good wing woman, so you can slide in
No
Tracy Ellis
thanks.
Ross. So, yeah, but let these people date who they want to date. Age gap relationships are not new. Um, I think you mentioned in a previous episode your parents are close in age. My
Mhm.
parents are not close in age. Um, yeah, I don't know anybody that's close. Well, do I know anybody that's close in? I know probably 2 or 3 couples that are married and close in age. Everyone else, there's an age gap. And
I don't really know too many people in age gap marriages.
so it's gonna be you one day. It's gonna be
Maybe
you and that 55-year-old man because
that
you're gonna get tired of
millionaire.
yeah, you're gonna get tired of settling. You're gonna get tired for settling for these guys that's taking you to Perry's for a pork chop sandwich on a Friday night. And I'm gonna see you with
A walk,
I'm
a
gonna see,
coffee.
see see you with a 60-year-old man. And if you need a ring boy, let me know. I'm willing to be a ring boy.
Okay. Period. Play the
All
piano
right.
too.
I'm gonna play 2 notes. I'm gonna be like doom 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 doom. Doom.
I teach
So
you Mary Had a Little Lamb. That's all I
all right,
know.
that's all you gonna. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get a DJ if you want me to be in the wedding making music. So guys, let us know your thoughts about these stories. Hit the
Yes.
like button, hit the subscribe button, and we will be back on Wednesday. Thank you for watching us.